Thank you all for staying. That's a pretty impressive group to follow, and I hope I make it worth your while here. Those of you who interact with Sobrato usually do it by touching one of these three organizations, which historically have operated largely separately. Sobrato Development, that's the real estate organization that I work with. The Sobrato Family Foundation, that is our main philanthropic organization, or Sobrato Capital. And Sobrato Capital is our non-real estate investments. And what I really want to talk to you about today is a question we're working on and struggling with, which is, shouldn't an organization like ours, which is committed to high-quality real estate development, philanthropy, has substantial financial resources, and is committed to long-term investment, shouldn't we be able to do more than these three groups individually can accomplish? And how can we do more as one organization rather than three separate organizations? And to dive into that, I really want to start with our Family Foundation. They came up several years ago with a mission statement that you see here. Make Silicon Valley a place of opportunity for all of its residents. And what I really want to talk about is how can we make that the mission statement for all of our organization? Bringing all of us together under an umbrella, call it Sobrato Philanthropies, making Silicon Valley a place of opportunity for all its residents. Now, many of you may know the Sobratos have committed to giving away at least half of their wealth to charitable causes. They've committed to do that entirely locally, and that's why they have Silicon Valley, which we define as the entire Bay Area, as the focus of our opportunities here. When you think about the real estate development, which is what I'm here to talk to you about, think about it in terms of at least 50% of the profit we develop through real estate will wind up in the Family Foundation. And I don't see a conflict between profit and nonprofit. I see a synergy between profit and nonprofit. When I think about this, I first want to look at the history of how we've been doing it. And I think you all know an enormous amount of wealth has been created in this area and around the world through real estate. And many families, not only Sobratos, have given much of that away. The Sobratos are part of this, what I will call the original model of real estate and philanthropy. For us, it started in 1991. We developed the Apple World headquarters. In 1995, we sold the headquarters to Apple. And a year later, we founded the Sobrato Family Foundation with much of the proceeds from that sale. And since that time, we've given almost $350 million away, profits from the real estate organization to local causes that the Sobratos support. John Sr., our founder, likes to say we make the money over here and we give it away over there. And that's great. It's been a fantastic model, but honestly, it doesn't create any more synergy than investing money that's been made through the stock market or through a tech startup into philanthropy. There's no synergy between the real estate and the philanthropy. It's merely funding it. It's also inefficient, and I say this with Jerry Hill looking at me here. I apologize, Senator Hill, but much of the money when we do it this way goes to taxes. And taxes are important. I'm not saying they aren't, but most of our taxes go to things outside of the Bay Area, the federal government or the state government. The Sobrato's mission is about the Bay Area. We want to keep as many of those dollars working here in the Bay Area. So we thought there's got to be a better model. And as time went by and our real estate portfolio aged, we found some ways to do that. We used to develop lovely buildings like this one in 1977 in Milpitas. And over time, these buildings became obsolete. And we started tearing them down and building newer, bigger buildings that met the need of the technology community. But at the same time, rents went up. And nonprofits in this area were faced with a really terrible choice. Either spend more and more of their budget on rent or move farther and farther away from the local populations they're trying to serve. Not a good choice at all. And the Sobratos came upon a better idea than tearing down these buildings, which was giving these buildings to nonprofits. And 461 Valley Way became the first Sobrato Center for Nonprofits. We give free office space to local nonprofits. We host meetings for nonprofits who don't have conference facilities of their own. And we did this in 2002. It was shortly followed by San Jose in 2008, and right here in Redwood Shores, half a mile from here in 2012. We now host 71 nonprofit organizations rent-free in these three centers. Last year, we hosted more than 8,000 meetings for nonprofit organizations at these three centers. So this is what I'm going to call the improved model. It's more efficient. There are no taxes involved. It directly addresses the needs of the nonprofits, and there is a real tie between the real estate. Now there is synergy. The real estate and the philanthropy are working together. But it's still not perfect. We developed 461 Valley Way in 1977. It started serving nonprofits in 2012. It took us 25 years to get there. This is philanthropy after we've wrung all of the value out of the real estate. And that's good, that's nice, but we got to be able to do more. And so we asked the next question: how can our projects more directly and more immediately address the barriers to opportunity in Silicon Valley? And I go back to that. Remember, what we're trying to do is create opportunity for all residents of Silicon Valley. And there were 3 areas we thought we could focus on: traffic, housing affordability, and education, which sounds kind of familiar after hearing our other speakers. How is this about opportunity for the residents? Well, think about it for a second. The working parent, he's got a child struggling in school. They'd love to get home and help the child after work, but they're stuck in traffic, or they're driving an hour and a half from the Central Valley to their job. The school's under-resourced, can't provide after-school help. So that's the trifecta for that family. They're having reduced opportunity because of housing inaffordability, traffic, and educational problems. So what are we going to do about this? How can real estate development help these 3 issues? Let me start with traffic. Historically, real estate development is treated as an impact that has to be mitigated. Our entire sequelize developed around this idea that essentially development is a bad that you have to make better. But we believe real estate can be part of the solution, and the key to that solution is mixed use. And by mixed use, I mean specifically putting housing next to office space. Great to have retail as well, but it's the housing and the office space that we think is key. You get less traffic, shorter commutes, less commute pollution, more vibrancy. This particular project, and I've left the cities out of my slides here. None of these projects are fully approved by the cities. I don't want to presume that they will approve these projects, but I do want to explain what we're thinking. I think this project is located in the single worst location for jobs housing imbalance in the entire Bay Area. This area has about 30,000 jobs and 300 housing units, 100 to 1. What we're doing, working with the city, is planning 240,000 square feet of office space, but next to it, 650 market rate apartments, 110 affordable housing units, sharing parking, sharing open space, sharing amenities. And by doing this, we're going to take 133 cars off of the road every day, not versus what would have happened because of this development, but versus now when there's nothing there. Overall traffic is going to go down. Pollution's going to go down. This project will be the equivalent of planting 5 acres of forest every single year that it exists. We are now planning housing in every project on the peninsula where the city will allow us to plan housing, whether it's 100% housing or it's mixed use. Every project we do where the city will allow us has housing. So what about housing? We see this as the single biggest threat to our economic prosperity here. I've actually never heard of traffic destroying an economy. Go to London, go to New York. Housing could. You've heard about that already today. This is a site, or actually to just address that, we believe you need more supply at all levels. Market rate, affordable, all levels. But I want to be realistic. The fact that we're going to build an apartment next to this office building doesn't mean the receptionist is going to sell his car and move into a $3,000 a month apartment. And yes, it takes $3,000 a month rents to build apartments in the Bay Area. That's just the financial reality. So what we're trying to do is to partner with the cities to make affordable housing accretive for both the city and for us. How do we do that? This is 15 acres of land that we own. 11 acres has this great mixed-use zoning that I'm talking about, where we are not only allowed but encouraged to build housing next to office. We get to build more if we build both. But the vacant lot you see on the right-hand side is 4 acres that can only be built with commercial, industrial, or office space. If we build it per zoning, we'll build 400 market rate apartments, we'll build 600,000 square feet of commercial space, and we'll pay impact fees that will fund the construction of 40 apartments, but with a catch. You still have to have the land. The fees won't pay for the land, and buying land in a transit-served location like this is almost impossible to affordable housing developers. But what if we can take that great zoning from the left hand of the site and move it to the right hand of the site? Now we have the same zoning, and we can build the same market rate apartments. Remember, we need housing supply at all levels. We can also build, not fund, not pay fees for, we can build and actually deliver 120 affordable apartments by partnering with one of the great developers of affordable housing in the Bay Area. And we only suffer a mild loss of 30,000 square feet of office simply by changing the zoning. It's a win for everybody. The city gets a more vibrant, mixed use, mixed income development. We still have a project that will be very profitable and will fund our family foundation for the next 50 years. Education. Education seems a little less directly involved. The Sobrato Family Foundation has been a huge supporter of education from its inception. Many of you may know the SEAL program, which is an early reading program that was started here in Redwood City. And while we give money to that every year, we're, again, looking for a new model, a more efficient model. Here, you've got a chance to partner with an organization that promotes education, that has land, but it doesn't have cash and it doesn't have real estate expertise. This land is owned by the Diocese of San Jose. And we're partnering with them to build 100,000 square feet of office space and 12 rental units. And this will provide $1 million a year at least to the parish, which you see the church behind the building there, the historic church, and the parish will have at least $1 million a year to fund its mission, which includes the local parochial school. And we don't see this as only an opportunity with private education. Our public schools are real estate rich. Most of them are underdeveloped, most of them are one story, but they don't have the expertise and they don't have the cash. And we're looking for opportunities to partner with them to either create a cash flow or to partner with them for even more creative ideas like developing affordable housing for their teachers so they can attract and they can retain teacher talent, which has become such a problem for them. Now, none of these projects exist yet, and we have challenges, and we don't know if it's going to work, but we're trying. I want to touch on some of the challenges. Sometimes we have like-minded groups, but we run into what I describe as making the perfect the enemy of the good. Sometimes by insisting on 50% affordable housing, you end up getting no housing at all. There are neighborhoods in San Francisco insisting on 100%. There is no housing that's going to come when that happens. We run into competing values where I see 12 acres of open land and I see a mixed-use development with housing and office space and cash flow to fund our foundation for the next 50 years. Other people see parks and they see sports fields, and I appreciate that. Just different values. And we do face the fear of abuse. The IRS is making it harder and harder for our profit and our nonprofit arms to work together, and unfortunately, it's because people have abused the nonprofit side. But we're trying to work through these issues, and we're optimistic. And as we go forward, I'm really hoping that you all don't think about Sobrato Development or the Sobrato Family Foundation, but you simply think about us as the Sobrato organization. Thank you.